Hello there, I'm Tonton and you're tuning to 7 Edition. Let's take a look at the headlines today. Prime Minister outlines need for governance reform in delivering 11 MPs midterm report. Datuk Sri Zahid arrested, expected to be charged tomorrow. And Theresa May to consider longer Brexit transition period. The government today has outlined its new priorities and emphasis to help build Malaysia into a developed nation status by 2020. In the midterm review of the 11th Malaysia Plan 11 MP, Prime Minister Tun Dr. Mahathir Mohamad said that the government will focus on 6 pillars. The first pillar will focus on reforming governance so that there is greater transparency. Among the government's priorities are to strengthen the check and balance mechanism and to improve the budgeting system. In the second pillar, the government will look into enhancing inclusive development and the well-being of Malaysians. Among the priorities in this pillar is to increase the purchasing power of the lower income group and to also provide affordable housing. The third pillar will help ensure that there is balanced development in all the regions. One of the priority areas is bridging the urban-rural development gap and also accelerating development in Sabah and Sarawak. Empowering human capital is the fourth thrust. Focus will be given to technical vocational education and training, TVET, where a new generation of workers will be trained for high-skilled jobs. The government will also ensure that the growth is environmentally friendly in its fifth pillar. Focus will be given on making Malaysia resilient against climate change and reducing disaster risks. In the last pillar, the government will find ways to strengthen economic growth. Among the highlights will be helping small and medium enterprises improve their value by embracing new technologies. Tun Dr. Mahathir said efforts would also be intensified under the third pillar, pursuing balanced regional development to address development imbalances in 6 regions. They are the Northern, Eastern, Central, Southern, Sabah and Sarawak regions.
Kerajaan akan memastikan masyarakat luar bandar tidak ketinggalan dalam arus pembangunan. Untuk itu, rangkaian jalan raya akan diperluas dengan membina dan menaik taraf 1,500 km lagi jalan luar bandar. Kerajaan juga memperluas akses kepada bekalan air bersih dan terawat meliputi sasaran 60,000 tambahan rumah. Meluaskan akses bekalan elektrik kepada sasaran 41,160 tambahan rumah.
Focus will be given to enhance economic activities, particularly in the less developed areas, as well as reduce development gaps between urban and rural areas. The new government will also focus on empowering human capital, which is highlighted as the fourth pillar of priority under the review. Towards this objective, focus will be given to creating skillful, knowledgeable and innovative human capital to meet the requirements of the industry. These would be implemented through 4 priority areas, namely reforming the labour market, improving labour efficiency and productivity, enhancing access to quality education and training, as well as fostering stronger industry-academia linkages. In order to increase productivity and industrial competitiveness, Tun Dr. Mahathir said focus will be given on economic fundamentals based on innovation, creativity and high value-added activities. He said the services sector will take on the central role in spearheading the economy. In this area, Malaysia will be rebranded as a main tourism destination with local ecotourism products to be fully utilized as tourist attraction. He said the government would also encourage a shift in the manufacturing sector towards producing high-value added products that have more variety and are more complex in nature, as well as reforming the agro-food subsector to reduce Malaysia's dependency on imported foods. This initiative will also improve the income of farmers and fishermen.
Dipergiat bagi mewujudkan ekosistem yang dinamik, menggalakkan penerima gunaan teknologi terkini dan e-dagang serta memanfaatkan platform digital untuk mempromosi produk dan perkhidmatan bagi menembusi pasaran antarabangsa. Bagi memperkukuh ketersambungan merentas wilayah, pembinaan lebuh raya di luar kawasan Lembah Kelang akan terus diberi keutamaan, antaranya meneruskan pelaksanaan jajaran Central Spine Road dan lebuh raya Kota Baru Kuala Krai. Selain itu, pembesaran terminal, pemanjangan landasan dan penambahbaikan kemudahan bagi lapangan terbang terpilih akan dilaksana.
The government is also committed to ensuring that steps are taken to enhance environmental sustainability alongside socio-economic development.
On accountability and transparency in governance, Tun Dr. Mahathir said bold measures must be taken, including according the Parliament with autonomous power.
Kuasa otonomi Parlimen akan dipertingkat dengan memperkenalkan semula Akta Perkhidmatan Parlimen 1963. Sistem jawatankuasa pemilih akan diwujudkan. Jawatankuasa ini akan memperlaku pelantikan jawatan utama di SPRM, SPR, Jabatan Audit Negara dan Suruhanjaya Pelantikan Kehakiman. Suruhanjaya tertentu seperti SPRM dan SPR akan juga bertanggungjawab secara langsung kepada Parlimen.
In restoring the Rakyat's faith, the government would also work on elevating the integrity and accountability of the overall public and private sectors.
SPRM akan ditransformasi sebagai sebuah badan bebas sepenuhnya dan Akta SPRM 2009 akan dikaji semula secara menyeluruh. Undang-undang pencegahan rasuah juga akan diperkukuh dengan mengkaji semula Akta Perlindungan Saksi 2009 dan Akta Perlindungan Pemberi Maklumat 2010.
In enhancing inclusive development and well-being of the Rakyat, he said several initiatives will be implemented. Among them, achieving accessibility.
Perumahan adalah penting untuk kesejahteraan keluarga. Sebanyak 200,000 unit rumah mampu milik disasarkan dalam tempoh 2018-2020 dengan menggalakkan penglibatan yang lebih luas oleh sektor swasta. Majlis Perumahan Mampu Milik Negara akan ditubuhkan untuk menyelaras pengurusan perumahan mampu milik awam.
Other socioeconomic developments the Premier touched on include the development of a cancer center for the northern region to complement the National Cancer Institute and the development of a National Disease Control and Prevention Center in Nilai, Negeri Sembilan.
And for the Prime Minister, the reforms are required if Malaysia hopes to recover, rebuild and re-emerge as a nation proud of its achievements and ability to compete at the highest level.
Kita mahu Malaysia yang bersatu padu. Kita mahu rakyat Malaysia berjaya dan menikmati kekayaan negara. Saya mengajak semua rakyat Malaysia menggalas tanggungjawab ini. Jika semua yang terkandung dalam dokumen ini dilaksanakan, saya yakin Malaysia akan mengaum kembali sebagai harimau Asia. Malaysia akan bertukar dari sebuah negara kleptokrat kepada sebuah negara demokrasi tulen dengan kerajaan yang bersih, luhur dan berintegriti. Rakyat Malaysia di mana-mana tempat di seluruh pelosok dunia boleh memperkenalkan dirinya dengan bangga, saya rakyat Malaysia. Inilah tekad kita. Inilah janji kita. Saya berdoa kepada Tuhan agar kita dapat melaksanakannya bersama seluruh bangsa Malaysia.
In other news, the Malaysian Anti-Corruption Commission, MACC, arrested Datuk Sri Zahid Hamidi today after he was summoned for questioning at its headquarters in Putrajaya. This is the 6th time the UMNO president was called in an investigation into alleged abuse of funds linked to his family-run foundation, Yayasan Akal Budi. He is also involved in another probe related to One Malaysia Development Berhad 1MDB over a meeting with a member of the Saudi Arabian royal family. In a statement, the MACC said Datuk Sri Zahid will be taken to the Kuala Lumpur Sessions Court tomorrow to face charges under the Anti-Money Laundering and Anti-Terrorism Financing Act, as well as the MACC Act. Datuk Sri Zahid spent some 11 hours last week during his session with anti-graft investigators. When he was first called up for questioning in July, he told the Commission that 800,000 ringgit had been reimbursed to Yayasan Akal Budi 2 years ago. He had then said that an employee of the foundation had mistakenly issued a company check to pay his credit card bills, instead of following his instruction to prepare payment from his personal bank account. Meanwhile, Datuk Sri Muhammad Najib Tun Razak was back again for the second time this week to answer questions on 1MDB's dealings with International Petroleum Investment Co., IPIC. The former Prime Minister arrived at the MACC headquarters in Putrajaya at 10 a.m. today, and he was there on Tuesday after being summoned for investigators for a fresh probe on a payment of more than $1.2 million made to IPIC by 1MDB in a settlement over a $6.5 billion claim made by the state fund. The settlement was made after 1MDB had defaulted on interest payment on 2 bonds guaranteed by the IPIC in 2012 for the acquisition of 2 power plants. Finance Minister Lim Guan Eng today confirmed that the government has paid 208 million ringgit in interest payment linked to the State Investment Fund One Malaysia Development Berhad 1MDB. The sum was paid for the 1MDB Energy Langat Limited, and Lim stressed that the government would fulfill the commitments made at the international level. There are 2 more interest payments to make in this regard by the end of this year.
Malaysia will not be in default, so we will make the payments, especially this tranche of 1MDB Energy Langat Limited payments, interest payments of $50.3 million or equivalent to 208.8 million ringgit. We got 2 other payments more to go. 11 November at $52.413 million equivalent to 217.51 million ringgit, and finally a Sukuk Islamic medium term note of 143.75 million ringgit. These are the interest payments. So we will not allow Malaysia to go into default because we do not want to affect not only our international reputation but also the ratings, our status in the ratings agency.
He added that so far this year, the government has paid 1.68 billion ringgit in interest on 1MDB loans. Hypermarkets and retail chains nationwide can set new prices for their goods starting November 15th, based on the tax rate imposed at manufacturing level following implementation of the Sales and Services Tax SST. Domestic Trade and Consumer Affairs Ministry's Enforcement Division Director, Datuk Muhammad Roslan Mahayuddin, said the move followed the 2-month transition period stipulated by the ministry since September 1st, ending mid-November. Datuk Muhammad Roslan said since the implementation of the SST on September 1st, the ministry has given the transition period for retailers to finish selling off old and existing stock.
Mereka tidak boleh menaikkan harga barang sebab stok yang mereka ada tu, yang kedai mesti ada stok lama. Jadi mereka cuma boleh merubah harganya apabila selepas daripada 1 September mereka dikenakan cukai SST, dan selepas itu barulah mereka boleh merubah harga.
He added the new prices had to be set based on the tax rate imposed at manufacturing level. On November 15th onwards, he said the retailers can set the new prices. Under Phase 2 of Op Chatut 5.0, Dato' Roslan said the ministry had inspected 20,259 premises and 490,328 goods nationwide since September 1st, following the implementation of SST. The same period, 166 notices have been issued under the Price Control and Anti-Profiteering Act 2011 and 1,826 notices under Section 53A of the same Act. The government is trying to find alternatives to reduce the people's burden, especially now that the move to abolish toll collection has been shelved. Works Minister Barubian said these alternatives included reducing the toll rate, imposing a flat toll rate, and providing discounts during off-peak periods.
Dasar kerjaan inilah jelas ya, dan kita tidak akan menghapuskan tol sampai keadaan kewangan negara ini dipulihkan dan sampai ke satu tahap yang sihat. Itu dasar, itu keputusan kerjaan yang sekarang ini.
He emphasized that the government has to commit to the highway agreements signed until the country's financial woes are settled. To another question on the toll rate proposed for the West Coast Expressway, WCE, Baru said 20 toll plazas were involved across 233 kilometers from Banting and Taiping. He said it would involve a concession period of 50 years with WCE Sdn Bhd in an agreement signed in 2013. He also said the expressway was 60% complete and is expected to be opened in stages beginning next year. When we return, woman kills children due to burden. Don't go away. Thank you for staying with us. 3 bodies were found drowned and floating in 2 rivers in Arau Perlis earlier today. The first 2 bodies were women who are believed to be mother and daughter. Police believe that the third body, a man, is related to the 2 women. The male victim, whose identity is still unknown, was found about 10 kilometers from the location of the bodies of the 2 women, who were identified as 64-year-old Norma Pin and Norzalina Baharum, aged 35, from Sungai Petani Kedah. Preliminary investigations did not find any injuries on the bodies of the 2 female victims. The cause of the incident is still being investigated pending post-mortem. The case has been classified as sudden death. A 31-year-old woman who was a victim in a hit-and-run at Shaftesbury Square in Cyberjaya has died. Police are still searching for the driver of the vehicle that hit and dragged the victim in a video that has gone viral. Wan Amirah Wan Alias, who suffered severe injuries in the incident yesterday evening, died at the Putrajaya Hospital early this morning. She had reportedly just celebrated her 31st birthday 2 weeks ago. CCTV footage of the incident shows Wan Amirah hit by a car and dragged along the street as she was crossing the road at 7:35 p.m. yesterday. According to a police spokesman, the victim was hit by a Hyundai bearing registration BHS 7999, which later sped away from the scene. The incident has angered Cyberjaya residents who say rampant reckless driving is an issue in the area. The federal government will examine the Crooked Bridge proposal from the Johor state government. The Prime Minister also said the bridge was different from the Third Link project, as Malaysia does not need to obtain consent from the Singapore government to build it.
They said they want to build a Crooked Bridge. But somebody says, no, we don't want the Crooked Bridge. We want the third bridge. You want a third bridge to Singapore, you will have to ask the consent of Singapore. And I think Singapore may not give the consent. But the crooked bridge does not involve Singapore at all. So we can build the crooked bridge anytime. But for a third bridge, you need the consent of Singapore and a lot of other things.
So are you exploring such a project maybe in near term?
No, this suggestion came from Johor. We will examine.
After finishing its contract earlier this year, German independent broadcasting company Deutsche Welle DW re-collaborated with Tonton, aiming to supply international news content to markets in Malaysia. The MOU between Tonton and DW was signed by Media Prima Berhad Television Network CEO Johan Ishak and DW Director General Peter Limber.
Dekat Tonton ni kita memang dah ada 8.4 million registered user. So apa yang kita kekurangan adalah konten, kandungan yang boleh membuatkan ramai lagi orang menonton melalui Tonton. Sebelah DW pula dia the other way. Dia ada konten tapi dia nak reach out dekat orang kat Southeast Asia.
Bringing in the content into Malaysia, they also branding us. So I think they will make us a bit more known. And so every user who uses VOD content might also be interested in our general interest news and current information linear TV channel.
Consumption is already getting.
The emergence of DW on Tonton, the #1 and largest OTT platform in Malaysia, offers two types of content: the DW English linear channel and video content at VOD request, which was released last Monday. DW also offers new global views and to viewers in the form of unbiased news and trusted sources.
You were on a break.